Basketball Society.
Everybody, welcome back to another episode of Fisch's Friday Rant by way of the Basketball Society. And today, I'm going to be talking about Derrick Rose and the Chicago Bulls. I will also be talking about the Portland Trail Blazers and how they're looking. And I'll also go over just injuries in general. Excuse me. So, to start off, we're going to talk about Derrick Rose and this whole injury bug that seems to be his entire career. Well, he was elbowed in the face of practice. I haven't seen by who. I don't think they released who it was. But he suffered an orbital fracture. And he's out for, I think it was a few weeks, maybe. I think it was like 2 to 3 weeks. He had to get surgery on it. And now everyone's crying, oh, Derrick Rose is hurt again. He's going to be out for the season. He's hurt all the time. He hasn't played X amount of games. Everyone just needs to relax for a little bit. First off, we've seen players get this kind of injury before. And they've put on the mask, and some have even came back like the next day or the next few days. If you look at Russell Westbrook, he had a similar type of injury. He threw the mask on and came back in 48 hours and played a playoff game. So there's really no need to be alarmed about this. We know Derrick Rose has been hurt a lot. We understand that. But I'm not going to go out on a limb and say that he's injury prone if another guy elbowed him that hard into the face. Now, if you say like, oh, he was running and broke his ankle or twisted his ankle or maybe his knee was injured again, okay, then I'd say like, yeah, that's his injury prone side coming about. But when someone else hits you, you can't call that guy injury prone and say, oh, it's his fault for getting hurt. It doesn't work like that. He's the one who got hit, and it's unlucky. I mean, it sucks. Yeah, he has a fracture now in his face, and I bet that hurt like crazy. So, all I'm saying is there's no cause for alarm in Chicago just from this facial fracture for Derrick Rose. It's just, there's no need to worry about it. He'll be back soon. He's going to be back when the regular season comes around. Everything will be fine. Hopefully, he doesn't get into another injury later on in the season, but you know, knock on wood. Anyway, the Chicago Bulls as a team, to me, I think are one of the more interesting things to follow in the Eastern Conference because they have a new coach who runs a new offense. It's a fast-paced offense. We're going to see more from guys like Doug McDermott. We're going to see more from just the bench guys in general, most likely, because they're definitely going to want to limit minutes for guys like Pau Gasol, who's getting up there in age. They might want to limit some minutes for Derrick Rose until they know he's healthy. I mean, just in general, the starters are going to get a little less playing time so that they're not running to the ground like Thibodeau did. And to me, I think that's perfect. I think that's what this team needs because, I mean, I'm not the only one who thinks that too, just to say that right now. And you can tell that these guys were just depleted like night in and night out. When you had games last year on back-to-backs, when you had like 4 games in 5 nights, these guys were working their tails off. And I mean, they were getting just ran into the ground in that week. I mean, just that 1 week, you'd probably have to sit in an ice bath for the next 3 days. I mean, I know if that was Kobe playing all those minutes in 4 nights and 4 games in 4 nights, he would just be, he'd be chilling in that ice bath. He'd be sleeping in that thing. But like, these guys even the younger guys, I don't think can withstand that kind of like 40 minutes a night for a 4-game and 5-night kind of thing. Even in a back-to-back, that's pretty hard to do. Even teams like the Sixers and teams like the Celtics and all of those guys with the younger core coming up, even those guys aren't playing that many minutes. And like it was getting pretty bad. Obviously, they needed a change in coach. That's why Tibbs isn't there anymore. But this whole fast-paced offense will be fun to watch, if you ask me. And personally, I think a lot of their success is going to hinder on the health of Derrick Rose. We need to see him not even get back to his MVP level. We need to see him play on a consistent high level to really like get the full experience of this offense that's going to be run. And I think it's definitely possible. Derrick Rose seems to have the mindset that he knows now how to take care of himself. Like I said, getting elbowed in the face by someone else isn't something he can control. So I think he understands more about himself, more about his legs. I mean, like, when you go through some leg injuries, you really get to grasp how you can take care of them later on so that doesn't happen again. Like, I know from my experience, I might have some bad knees, so I'm icing them all the time after a game. So, like, just stuff like that. I think that he has learned from all of these injuries, and he knows how to treat them in between games, before games, after games, whatever it may be. So I think the Bulls will be very fun to watch, especially with more McDermott coming in. I think that'll give him time to shine. Like, the Bulls needed a shooter since Korver left and all of those guys. So I think that with this new offense will come new opportunities for new players. And I think that'll just benefit the Bulls in general, and they should be really fun to watch. Especially with a new, faster-paced offense, it should be exciting. At the very least, I mean, it's going to be exciting. So, just talking about injuries in general, I know I was talking with a couple of the Basketball Society guys about we're just really hoping that the superstars and the stars, the upper-level guys, can limit the injuries this year. Like, it for lack of better phrase, it really sucked to not see Durant, not see Melo, not see Westbrook for a good part of the first half of the season. And it just really sucks not being able to watch the upper level guys, not being able to watch the superstars, the franchise players who are there to bring teams up and play at a higher level. I mean, we haven't had to see guys like LeBron take an injury and fall back and like really miss a big chunk of the season, which I'm definitely thankful for. I don't want to see guys like that go down. I mean, I don't want to see any NBA player go down. I would never wish for an injury upon anybody, even if it was like my greatest rival. But the big part of the NBA are the big name superstar guys. And when you lose a guy like Durant, who was an MVP the season before, it's really tough. I mean, I loved watching Westbrook with Durant out, don't get me wrong. But then Ibaka went down as well, and they just were plagued with injuries, and we missed out on seeing the Thunder in the playoffs. So it was really the playoffs were still exciting, but it just really was unfortunate that we couldn't see more teams like that. And while I know the Knicks were also bad, it still sucked not seeing Carmelo out there. I mean, who knows, since Melo knew the team wasn't that good, he could just start throwing up shots in all sorts of different ways, and he could have maybe even won a scoring title, even though his team wasn't going to go anywhere, because he's still the focal point of the offense. So it's just, I'm praying for a less injury-plagued season, just for the sake of exciting basketball, great basketball to watch and even better playoff basketball. So, on to our last topic. We're going to talk about Portland. And if you guys haven't been keeping up with the Basketball Society Power Rankings, which you should, by the way, we had the Blazers at 26th, I believe. And it's funny because also the CBS Sports Power Rankings done by Matt Moore this year, I think it was, he had the Blazers at 30th, dead last. And, I mean, it's going to be interesting because we don't know exactly what this Blazers team is going to be. We know what Damian Lillard's going to give us. We know he's going to score. He's going to get his. One thing we don't know is if he's going to step up on defense. That should be an interesting part. But for the most part, they now have a really young core on their way up as well, with other rebuilding teams like the Sixers and Celtics and Timberwolves and just teams like that. They re-upped with all the young guys, and it's going to be interesting to see how these guys mesh together. Now, I like the guys on their team individually. I like them. I like Plumlee. I like Lillard, obviously. I like C.J. McCollum. Vonleh is a guy I always thought would develop into a solid starter, so we get to see him as well. Myers Leonard showed a little bit in the postseason and everything. So I like these guys individually. I like Terry Stotts as a coach, but it's really going to be tough when you lose 4 of your 5 starters from the year before, and they were all veterans, and now you're just refilling them with all young guys. So it's definitely going to be tough. And they're also, you can't deny the fact that they're also in the toughest conference. They're in the West. So it's just going to be a struggle for them. It's definitely going to be an uphill battle. And the reason why I don't think they're going to be last is because they still do have a guy like Damian Lillard. They still have C.J. McCollum, who's been in the system for the last couple years, who knows how Terry Stotts coaches. So, I mean, Myers Leonard is in there. He's gotten a grasp of how the Blazers want to play ball. So it's going to be a strange mixture of guys who have been there. They know what that is asked of them. They know what they need to do, as well as teaching the other guys coming in, hey, this is what we're trying to do. You need to be here, you need to be there, you need to do this, that. It's just going to be an interesting thing to watch because of the mix of players that they have. And it's not just that, but like I said, if you haven't read my article about Damian Lillard becoming the leader of this team, it's also going to be interesting from that standpoint because Lillard has not been the de facto #1 alpha male top dog on this team. It was always LaMarcus Aldridge, because you would even see Lillard defer to Aldridge in big moments in a game, and everyone knew, other teams, their team, the coach, everyone knew that Aldridge was the #1 guy. So now it's Lillard's time to step up even more than he has before. He has to be the leader. He has to teach these young guys something about their team, about the NBA. He has to teach them and get them ready to go. And he just has to be the overall top guy. And I believe that he can do it. I think Lillard has the ability to do that. He's a smart guy, and he can definitely get his players and rally them. But it's just to what degree can he do it? Can he do it at a high degree? Can he do it just at the lowest degree, the minimum degree possible, where he gets them going, he gets them playing, he gets them used to it, but they're just not operating at a high level. So, all in all, this Blazers team is going to be generally interesting to watch, and I think they'll be pretty exciting as well, because you're going to watch them grow as the season goes along, and there's definitely going to be growing pains. I mean, you watch it in teams with the Sixers, with the Timberwolves. They have those terrible games where people are going to blow them out. It's going to happen. But they also have great games where they stay in it. They might win at the end, or they might pull out and get a 10-point lead and keep that lead. It's going to be fun to watch, but you Blazers fans and just general NBA fans have to remind themselves that it's going to be a struggle. It's going to be a growth, because the only one left from their normal veteran starting five is Damian Lillard. So good luck, Portland. I believe you guys will do well in the future. Maybe not this season, but it should be a fun season to watch. So thank you guys for listening and watching another episode of Fisch's Friday Rant. We are on YouTube. We are on SoundCloud, iTunes. Make sure you check us out, all under Basketball Society. We release all our podcasts, all our stuff under the same Basketball Society name. And make sure you check out our website, www.basketball-society.com, as well as our Twitter, @bballsociety_. So thank you guys, and I'll catch you guys next week. Peace.